Welcome to the Unapologetic Man Podcast, the only podcast that's all about self-improvement, confidence, success, women, and being a man without making any apologies for it.
What is up, gentlemen? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the UMP. I really do appreciate it. And today we are going to talk about how you are a goddamn champion. That's right, brother. How rather than why. And I want to talk about that language distinction. And I want to get real with some practical tips about how you can actually begin to feel more confident, build up your self-esteem, feel like a champion. And it goes beyond just telling yourself every day. It goes into creating evidence, outworking your doubts, and creating a system to bring into your life that confidence, to bring into your life that knowledge that, yeah, I am a champion, not because I'm explaining it to myself, but because I'm proving it to myself. Why versus how. So before we get into the content, I want to thank you guys so much for listening to this podcast. You know, I was researching other podcast hosts and other podcasts in the dating niche, and so many go down in flames, man. Like, you'll look at their podcast and they stop publishing after a couple hundred episodes, or they stop publishing back in 2021 or 2020 during COVID. There's just so many dating podcasts that have gone down in flames. So I sincerely appreciate that you guys listen to my stuff. I appreciate that you keep showing up. My downloads are continuing to go up and up and up, and it's because of you guys. And sincerely, man, I really do appreciate that. Also, on Spotify, you guys are now able to make comments on the episodes themselves. So I get an email about once a week and it says, you have X many more comments that can be checked out. And you guys are just giving lots of love, giving me lots of support, and I really appreciate that. What's interesting, a quick thing about podcasts you may not have known, is when I first started this back in 2019, I think it was 2020, iTunes was the big giant. It was the one that was kicking ass. But guess which platform has taken over iTunes? That's right, Spotify. Spotify has. So Spotify now on my analytics are now getting more downloads than even iTunes. And iTunes is the shit. I love it. I have an iPhone myself, and I love how you guys can leave reviews on iTunes, but it's interesting that Spotify has passed them. And I think the reason that happened is because of Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan was given, what was it, like 600 million to move his podcast onto Spotify. I hope that happens to me, man. And it just exploded. It exploded Spotify. So I have a lot of love for Spotify. I also love iTunes and all the other podcast apps, but particularly you guys. Sincerely, man, I really, really appreciate that you listen to my stuff. And the best way you can help me is to share it with your friends. Leave those comments, especially on Spotify. The more you guys comment positively, hopefully. There's been a couple hate comments, but most of them have been positive. When you leave those comments, it helps me in the search rankings. So if you guys want to help me, you're like, dude, I want to help this guy. He gives me so much value. It's about doing that. It's about spreading the word, telling your friends about it, leaving comments, leaving reviews. And guys, I'm really working hard on my Instagram. If you go check it out, I've got some new videos dropping on there, new style, and I'm recording these podcasts now on video. So if you go to my YouTube page, the Unapologetic Man Podcast with Mark Sing, you will see that I'm now on video. The people who are helping me to grow my social media presence are like, dude, you got to be on video. And I'm like, all right, I'll get on video. God, I'll do my hair. I'll brush my teeth and get myself ready, clean my ears, pluck my nose hairs, shave the caterpillar resting above my eyes in the form of a unibrow. I'll shave that bad Jackson and get that clean shave going so I can look presentable, wax up the tattoos, just like before a first date. And I'm like, God, I used to freaking sit here doing my podcast, wearing pajamas and looking like a sea bass, but I got to up my game. So I'm doing that, just like you guys have to up your game. So today, gentlemen, we're going to talk about how. That's right, HOW. You are a goddamn absolute champion, alpha, silverback, unapologetic legend, because that's what you are. And I know for a fact you don't give yourself enough credit. I do it even to myself, and I've worked on myself so much that it boggles my mind sometimes how hard I am on myself. A lot of you guys are your own worst critics. You insult yourself because you demand excellence. And I love the fact that you demand excellence, but look at how you're treating yourself. If you treated a friend the way that a lot of you guys are treating yourself, that friend would have left you months or years ago, because you are not treating yourself with nearly enough respect. You're not seeing all the great things that you do, all the great things that you are, all the great things that you've become throughout this life with all the challenges that you've been given. And you're your own worst enemy. The thoughts that go inside your head create suffering because you're constantly demanding the next stage of excellence. You're shooting all over yourself saying, I should do this, I should be that, I should be here by now with women, I should be making this much money. You're shooting all over yourself. And when you do that, what does it affect? Your self-esteem. So when your self-esteem is affected in that negative way, what are you going to get? Worse results. So a lot of coaches say that you should write down all the reasons why you're a great person. And I like that. I like that idea of writing things down. But as an NLP coach, I focus very much on language. Language is what frames the way we view reality. So when you ask yourself why I'm a champion, you're almost put in a state of weaker frame because now you have to explain to yourself why you are XYZ thing. It's just like when a girl asks you, why are you wearing that outfit? If you explain to her why you're wearing that outfit, she's going to get less attracted to you because it's basically you trying to convince her of something, which means you're coming from the weaker frame. You're down here, she's up here, she's asking you the question and you're trying to explain why you do certain things, why you wear certain things, why you are the way you are. So I don't like the question of why I'm a champion. I like the question of how I'm a champion. Now, when it comes to how is action-based, isn't it? How points to the future. How points to creating a life and creating evidence for yourself that outworks the doubt that you have about yourself. So when you ask, how am I a champion? You're looking at evidence-based reality and you're going to format your life in a towards mentality where you're going to go towards those things to prove to yourself how you're a champion. Let me explain. So when I look at my life and I ask, how am I a champion? I think to all the things that I do on a day-to-day basis. Okay, I wake up early, take my daughter to school, I meditate every single day. I do intermittent fasting to keep that 10% body fat, to keep as ripped as possible. I have a very successful business. I care about my clients. I give to charities each month. I'm good to my woman. I'm really good to my kid. I'm super good to my coaching clients. I just feel I'm a very good fucking person. And the reason I'm able to feel that is because I look at the how. How am I a good person? How am I a champion? And how am I outworking those doubts that I have every day? Look, I'm the one coach that's going to cut it to you straight. If you're sitting around eating like shit, having a body that you're not proud of, working a job that you're not proud of, not getting the money that you want to get, not approaching women, not even trying to get on the dating apps and improve your dating life, the evidence that you've created for yourself, that how you're living your life will not be enough to substantiate you feeling like a champion. Look, there's hacks, there's affirmations, there's NLP, there's lots of different shortcuts up the mountain. But ultimately, you need to have an evidence-based life. And yes, brother, ultimately, you need to do the fucking work. Okay, again, I'm one of the few coaches that's going to put it to you straight. It's kind of like David Goggins, right? He's like, look, there's no shortcut. The way you do it is you get into the fucking battlefield and you do the work like a goddamn man does. You don't hem and haw and try to have shortcuts. And yeah, there are some shortcuts. Like I can do a lot to your mind with NLP. I can make you feel infinitely better about yourself. But even there, if there's not solid proof of day-to-day how-based evidence as to why you're a champion, you're not going to feel it. You're not going to believe it. We need tangible evidence. So how do we do that? Well, first of all, I just said how. I want you to create a life for yourself where every day you're doing something that has evidence to substantiate the fact that not only you're a champion, but that you can be proud of yourself, that you can hit the pillow at night and say, yeah, man, I am a champion. Why? Because I did all these things. I worked hard. I am putting down evidence. And even if you have to write it down on a piece of paper, that's fine. I'm putting down evidence to prove that I'm a champion. And I'm not justifying it to myself by saying, well, why? And coming from that weak frame of having to explain it to myself, to rationalize to myself like I'm rationalizing to a woman. And quick side note, gentlemen, if you've been listening to my podcast for any amount of time, when a woman says, why are you wearing that outfit? What do you say? Come on, boys, you got to know this one because they're going to do it to you. They're going to question you. They're going to challenge you. When a woman says, why are you wearing that outfit? You say, whoa, I know you're trying to take off my outfit right now, but relax, we just met. Which shows you have a stronger reality than she does. And this is the way we need to frame control our own doubts. I want you to think of your doubts as like a woman questioning you or somebody with a weaker frame questioning you. And many of you guys are constantly buying into those doubts, explaining to them and letting those doubts make you feel bad. What's happening? Your doubts inside yourself are frame controlling your ass. That's what's happening. So what we do is we become stronger than the doubts. And if you have a doubt that comes in, reframe it. If you say, well, yeah, Mark is right. I don't work out. I look like shit. I'm not making a lot of money. Then you say, how am I going to change that moving forward? Okay, I'm going to stop eating so much sugar and simple carbohydrates like breads and pastas. I am going to look for a new job or start a venture on the side. Maybe I can start a podcast. And although Mark just said that most fail, maybe mine can be the one that succeeds. Or I start a different side hustle, like, I don't know, drop shipping or anything else that's on the internet right now, freaking Bitcoin exchange. I mean, there's so many opportunities that can make you money. It's literally insane. How am I going to improve my skill set with women? Maybe I'll hire Mark. Maybe I'll go into his program and I'll stop foot dragging and procrastinating out of fear. And I'm going to recognize that fear is just false evidence appearing real. And I'm going to go into those fears willingly, like a fucking man does. And then you're going to stack evidence for yourself. And yes, I want you to write this down, but it's not from a why perspective of you trying to explain yourself and justify and be frame controlled by your doubt. Instead, you're going to go from a how perspective. How am I going to prove that I am a goddamn champion? Because yes, again, boys, it has to be evidence-based. Then when you start looking through your life, which is what I want you guys to start with, I want you to ask not why, but I want you to ask how and start going back through your life and saying, you know what? I have done a lot of things. I have overcome a lot of challenges. Some of you guys, you've been through so much shit that if I was in your shoes, I would be in the exact same position you're in today. But the reason you're still alive, at least I believe, the reason you haven't been taken out of this incarnation is because you still have work to do and you still have the opportunity before you. Yes, as cliche as it is, today is the first day of the rest of your life. So get to work on the how. How am I a champion? First, what we're going to do is we're going to write down all the things that we have overcome in our lives. And if you start going through your past history, you are going to be extremely goddamn proud of yourself, as I'm proud of you, man. Why am I proud of you? You haven't ended it. You haven't given up. You're listening to a podcast like this one, trying to improve yourself. Do you know how few guys actually do that? They just give up and they go into their derpa existence where they're just trying to get to the next day without completely giving up. You at least are trying to improve yourself. So boom, right there. I listen to podcasts to try to improve myself. That's how I am a goddamn champion. How many guys do that? Very, very few. And how many guys come into a program and hire a coach to try to make them better? Even fewer. That's why on last night's coaching call, I told my boys who were on the call, I'm like, you guys have no idea the level of championhood that you've reached by investing yourself in this way, by coming to this coaching call, by admitting to me that you have issues with women and admitting to the other brothers that you're struggling, by lighting yourself on fire and letting others watch you burn. Just for that, you should walk out of your house tomorrow morning with your head held high, with your chest sticking out, and with a smile on your face, because you are a goddamn champion. How do I know this is true? Because of what I see from what you're doing. You're investing in yourself. And that's what I told my boys last night. And you should have seen them light up. And that's my job, man. My job is to believe in you. My job is to see what you can become, even if you don't see it. And I do see that in my clients. I believe in my guys. I love my brothers, and I'm going to get them to the finish line no matter what it takes. So we go through our lives and we start writing down all those accomplishments and we ask, how am I a champion? Well, I graduated high school. Not everybody does that. There's a champion stamp. I got that girl that one time. I walked up to her, got her number. There's another champion stamp. Or I've approached this many girls and I've gotten rejected time and time again, and I just keep doing it. Leon, that is a nod to you, brother. You just keep going. You never fucking quit. And for that, you are my goddamn hero. And as you continue to develop your skill set, as you continue to approach and refine that thing that is just a skill set, boys, getting girls is just a skill set. Once you refine it and you start getting success, it's going to be just that much sweeter. What else have you done? You've traveled. You've persevered through adversity. I know for myself, one of the biggest accomplishments I ever made was getting my blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah, I became fluent in Japanese. Yeah, I overcame my panic attacks and agoraphobia. Yeah, I made this super successful podcast and this super successful business. But the blue belt in BJJ is one of my biggest accomplishments, and I think about that all the time. I think out of 100 guys, only one gets their blue belt because so many others quit. And by the way, that isn't just some stat I came up with. That was said by Rickson Gracie himself. They've done an analysis on it, and that's one of my proudest moments. And I always think to that, how am I a champion? I got my blue belt in BJJ. And for some people, that wouldn't be such a huge accomplishment, but I hate Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I suck at it. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. And I still didn't quit because I told myself when I first started, I am going to get my blue belt. I will never fucking quit. I am never out of the fight. And I stuck with it until I did that. So what accomplishment like that do you have? Do you have stories of perseverance? I know you do, only because you're still alive and listening to this. Life is hard, gentlemen. And if you don't mind me getting a little spiritual, I listen to a lot of near-death experience accounts, and a lot of people say that the other side, spirit, God, Jesus, Buddha, whoever they met back there, and yes, you meet who you believe in. Buddhists meet Buddha, Christians meet Jesus, Muslims meet Mohammed. It's all about your belief system. They say to a man that Earth is one of the hardest schools. Earth is one of the hardest places to come. So if you're still here and you're still slogging forward, that alone, in my opinion, should prove to you how you are a champion. So guys, first of all, let's stop ripping on ourselves. The way a lot of you treat yourself is absolutely horrendous, and I want you to throw that out immediately. Secondly, we're looking for evidence as to how we are a champion, not why we're a champion. Because when you ask why, you're in that weaker feminine state of having to explain yourself. No, it's how. It's masculine. It's towards oriented. Then what we're going to do is we're going to write down all the ways throughout our past we've shown how we're a champion. And then moving forward from today forward, we are going to restructure our life to prove to ourselves, to stack evidence against our doubts that we are a champion by writing down our daily rituals, our daily routines, our daily discipline, because discipline is acting on your higher motives, not your lesser motives. So your question is, how am I a champion? And I want you constantly thinking about it. How am I improving myself? How am I trying to get to the next level? How am I going to continue to stack that evidence to feel that I'm a champion? And then what happens is once you start believing you're a champion, as I do, you start getting more and more evidence. But what's better is you start attracting to yourself the abundance that comes when you believe in yourself. In the Bible, whether or not you're a Christian or not, the Bible does have a lot of wisdom. It says, to those who have more will be given. What does that mean? That God just gives rich people more? God gives guys who are good with women more? No. What it means is the law of attraction. What you are, you attract more of to yourself. So if you constantly tell yourself, I'm a champion, you're going to get champion results. You're going to get people respecting you like champion. You're going to get girls getting attracted to you. You're going to make more money. Champions live in a reality that attracts to themselves more champion results. To those who have, more will be given. But the important thing is to think that you have. I have a champion lifestyle because I focus on the how, and every day I stack the evidence to prove to myself how, thus I believe in it more, thus more comes to me, and it's a snowball. It's the same thing with money. It's the same thing with women. It's the same thing of anything abundance related. First, you have to become it. But we can't just sit around feeling like a loser and then tell ourselves in the foreground, I'm a champion, I'm a legend, I'm a girl magnet. No, we need the evidence to outwork any self-doubt. And that comes by putting boots on the ground, getting into your masculine energy, having a towards mentality, and going towards those goals like a goddamn champion does. I know that each and every single one of you guys is a champion, and I'm proud of you. I want to help you. Please stop doubting yourself. Please stop shooting all over yourself, because all it's doing is dragging you down back into that which you're trying to get out of. From today forward, brother, you're going to focus on how I am a champion, looking for evidence in the past, and more specifically, pounding down evidence in the present so that in the future, you can believe that you are a champion and attract to yourself the abundance that both you and I know you deserve. Gentlemen, I do appreciate you listening. I drop podcasts on Mondays and Thursdays. A quick favor I want to ask you once again. Please go to my YouTube page. Watch the video of me on video. It's really weird because I'm filming this on my iPhone and you have to look at the camera, which is right there. But I want to look at myself, which is over here. So the whole time I just want to look like this, looking at myself. But you have to not look at yourself. You have to look at the camera. It's really hard because you just want to look at yourself and focus on what you're saying. But I think I did a pretty good job. So please go over there. It's called the Unapologetic Man Podcast with Mark Sing. Watch a few of my videos, comment on them. Please like them, subscribe. I want to build that. And also my Instagram, boys. My goal is to drop at least 20 and up to 30 videos per month. I'm recording new videos. I'm getting dressed up. I'm trying to up my game because how am I a champion? Well, I do what's hard. I try to take my business to the next level. I try to give you guys the best possible content, and that's a continuous evolution. So how am I doing it? I'm stacking the evidence. I'm doing the videos. I'm doing the Instagram. I'm getting out on social media because I'm proving to myself yet again that I am a champion, and it's through that how, H-O-W, not why. I'm not coming from the feminine perspective of having to explain myself to myself. No. It's how. It's towards mentality. It's masculine. It's running the numbers and getting the shit done. And again, stacking that evidence. So please, boys, go to all my social media stuff. If you want to help me out, like it, subscribe, follow, whatever it is that you got to do. I'd sincerely appreciate it. I drop podcasts on Mondays and Thursdays, so please stay tuned for the next one, and I will see you in the next episode.